Donald Trump has issued new orders to eliminate federal DEI programs, shut down DEI websites, and place DEI employees on administrative leave. The federal government uses the term DEIA, which stands for diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility. And Trump's actions rescind President Biden's executive order from 2021, which sought to make the federal government a model for effective DEIA. Trump also inaccurately describes DEIA as radical, illegal, and immoral discrimination. So let's look at what those programs actually do. Federal DEI programs set goals in 8 different areas. Number 1, data collection, to give us a better understanding of who is and isn't in the federal workforce. Number 2, paid internships, which provide valuable opportunities and experience for people from underserved communities. Number 3, recruitment, so the government doesn't just hire the usual suspects. Number 4, professional development, so that once people are hired, they can continue to expand their skills. Number 5, fair treatment of people with disabilities, so they can get a job and find appropriate accommodations. Number 6, LGBT fairness, so that spouses and families of LGBT employees get the same benefits as other families do. Number 7, pay equity, to review government salaries to make sure that women and people of color aren't being paid less to do the same jobs. And number 8, opportunities for formerly incarcerated individuals to remove barriers so that qualified job applicants who have served their time get a fair shot to get a job. These are not radical, illegal, or immoral ideas. Black people were legally segregated, denied jobs, housing, and the right to vote until the late 1960s. Women couldn't get a credit card in their own name until 1974. People with disabilities were locked out of the workplace until 1990, and gay and lesbian couples couldn't marry the people they loved until just 10 years ago. Most of those changes happened in my lifetime. I'm not sure Trump knows any of that history, but I do know that his actions are designed to be an attack on Black America. Black people were the least supportive racial or ethnic group for Donald Trump. We make up about 13.7% of the U.S. population, but account for nearly 19% of federal workers. Nearly 400,000 Black people now work for the federal government. Trump's DEI attack fits with his larger plan to move federal jobs out of Washington, D.C. and slash the federal workforce, which would leave thousands of Black people unemployed. All of this would constitute the most significant attack on Black public workers since Woodrow Wilson segregated the federal workforce in 1913. Black people are overrepresented in the federal government because historically that was the one place where we did not face employment discrimination. I would not be here without federal DEI programs. My grandmother worked for HUD for 30 years in St. Louis, Missouri. My mom worked for the Department of Defense. This is personal to me. But the impact of Trump's attack will be felt far beyond the federal workforce. The federal government influences the private workforce by dictating rules for federal contractors and serving as a model for best practices for private employers. And some corporations are already rolling back their DEI initiatives. After spending his 2024 campaign scaring Black people with racist lies that immigrants are taking Black jobs, Trump will end up being the one to take their jobs as he promotes white victimhood and erases America's true racial history. So we must educate our own people, fight in the courts, the boardrooms, and the media when we can, and in the streets when we must, and resist his efforts to erase us as powerfully and constructively as we can.